If you recall, for those old enough who were sort of, people in Gen X and millennials, we used to have this thing called digital literacy. And those were the kind of people who also never believed the internet would be a thing. In fact, there's some famous sort of quotes back in the, I think, 2000s at the time of the dot-com bust where everyone said, that's it, the internet is dead, it's not going to happen. Obviously that wasn't the case, but similar situation right now because they were simply not digital literate. They didn't see the opportunity. So we see the same thing now happening with blockchain in Web3, which is the next iteration of the internet. What we have now in Web3 is value and value creation spread at the speed of the internet. And of course, the kind of communities that can not just sort of have the most opportunity in this, but have to really get smarter at this are the ones who have more financial literacy. And by financial literacy, I don't mean just the kind of literacy you have, calculating the numbers and balancing your books and being good at accounts or so forth. How do you handle crypto? How do you understand what their value is? How can you measure the network effects of them? How do you invest in a cycle where the assets aren't necessarily equities per se, but a form of a digital commodity? Many of these altcoins, for instance, or how do you value Bitcoin? These are things that we have to learn and study. And the difference, though, is that before, because frankly, the world of finance was really reserved for a small single-digit percentage of the elite. There is roughly, I think in global statistics, of course in developed countries it's bigger, less than 10% of the world have a stock portfolio. So we haven't really advanced yet. And what Web3 and blockchain is doing is, because everything now, whether it's through an RWA, whether it's something intellectual property, or whether it's just your attention in the form of a token, becomes a capital asset. And once it becomes a capital asset, it becomes a financial asset, which means invariably, because you own it, you end up basically getting involved in some kind of financial utility and you learn about finance.